Listen, politics ain't being paid. And when you get into tough, complicated, contentious issues, sometimes rhetoric gets very fiery. If you don't have a tough skin, this is not a good business to get into. I know what happened. I stand behind every word that I said. In terms of that meeting, I'm focused on one thing, not that meeting, but on making sure that those who are being protected by DACA and eligible for the DREAM Act have a future in America. I'm focused on that full time.
Do you believe
this morning there's a Post story that says, and forgive me for bringing this up, that at the White House there's a debate this week about whether the president said S whole or S house, giving Cotton and Purdue perhaps a lame excuse to quibble. What do you think of this?
I don't know that changing the word from whole to house changes the impact which this has. This speaks to America and its view toward immigration. It is a message to the world, and a message which I think is inconsistent with the values of this country. I don't believe the majority of Americans agree with the president, whichever word is used. I don't believe that a majority of the Republican Party agrees with the president, whichever word is used. A majority of this country wants us to have a sane, sensible immigration policy that is just, that keeps us safe, but also leaves the door open for the legacy of this country, which is diversity, which has made us stronger than many countries on earth.
Could it have been either word then?
No.
Okay.
I stick with my original interpretation. I am stunned that this is their defense. That's their choice.
You gonna start tape recording your meetings with the president?
Well, I can tell you, as a matter of fact, that as President Obama did, they take your cell phone away before you go in the room, as they should, for security purposes. It is possible, as you may or may not know, for foreign countries to have access to those conversations through unsuspecting people who bring in their cell phones. So I don't quarrel with that. I don't know if there was some other recording device that was being used within the Oval Office. If there was, I want to just call in the White House right now, release whatever you have. If they don't have it, so be it.
President saying that he's not a racist, that he's the least racist person that news media could interview.
The president and the Republican Party have a chance to prove that now. If they will help us reach a bipartisan compromise to protect those who were protected by DACA and to give them, those who were eligible to sign and Dreamers a chance, it is clear evidence to me that they're moving in the right direction.
But the president says in a tweet that DACA is probably dead because you guys won't cooperate.
The president, if you'll remember our little kumbaya moment, it was only last Tuesday when I sat next to the president and he said the following: "You send me a bill and I'll sign it. Remember? I'll take the heat. Remember? We prepared a bill, a bipartisan bill that hit all four elements the president asked for. That was what the meeting Thursday was about. So as far as I'm concerned, if the president will keep his word as of last Tuesday, if he'll move forward and endorse this bipartisan agreement, we can get this done this week."
Do you trust him to make a deal after what's all been said back and forth? How do you still negotiate?
It's difficult. The president's position changes by the day. I'm going to seize any moment that looks positive and promising.
Any danger this looks like retaliation because you called him out?
I just have to say this. What the president said in that meeting was so awful and so impactful on so many people that when he denied saying it, I felt duty-bound to clarify what actually happened.
And what about today being Martin Luther King Day? I mean, you're talking about derogatory comments he has towards African countries.
I know.
Here you want for an event that's celebrating.
I just want to say this on Dr. Martin Luther King's observance of his birth. It's clear in my mind where he would be on this debate. I know where he would be. And those who want to honor his memory and his legacy, I hope, whichever party you belong to, or if you belong to no party, join us. This is the right thing to do. This is the civil rights issue of our time. Silence is unacceptable. Stand up, speak up if you believe that we need to have justice.
Why do you think both Senator Cotton and Senator Purdue would say you are a liar?
I don't know. I can understand, as far as Senator Cotton's concerned, his position on immigration is well known. Senator Purdue was a bit of a surprise, but they know better. And if they are trying to rescue the White House by this distinction between whole and house, and is a thin reed to try to create a rescue operation.
And we should talk about the possibility of a government shutdown because some Democrats want a DACA bill separate from funding the whole budget. Any danger here of a shutdown?
Well, there is a danger, and that's why we need to take this seriously. And I will tell you that Republican leaders have been reaching out to me as late as last night to talk about the next step, how we might move forward. And I've said to them, I will attend any and every meeting. I will do everything in my power to get this done as quickly as possible. But please, the starting point is we have until Friday to do this. It's been more than 4 months, and many people who are now engaged did nothing for more than 4 months. I sat down with my colleagues on the Republican side and Democratic senators as well. We hammered out a tough agreement, one that I think is fair. If someone else is going to undertake this, I'll help them if I can. But believe me, this is a timely, important issue, and delay is unacceptable.
If by calling out the president that sabotages negotiations on DACA, would you have any regrets about calling him out?
Let me tell you, it was important for the American people to know what the president's motives are when it comes to this issue. For the longest time, he has argued this issue in terms of security and American jobs. What I heard at that meeting had nothing to do with security and American jobs. And the fact that this is now publicly known is, I think, a clear indication of, at least at that moment, what the president thought. Maybe, just maybe, enough Republicans will step up and say we disagree with that approach and we want to endorse a bipartisan compromise.
But no regrets on calling him out?
No, I don't.
Last question.
Is your position going to be no DACA, no budget, or?
I don't want to get there yet, Bill. I really think that I have work to do, and I want to get this done in a positive way without hurting anyone, not just those who are protected by DACA and Dreamers, but anyone who's affected by our federal budget. But let's get it done. Let's everyone agree we've waited long enough, we've wasted enough time. It's time for Washington, and particularly for Capitol Hill, to prove we can actually take an assignment and get it done. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Senator.
Thank you.